Hey, thanks for joining me today to review Weston Bend State Park, one of my favorite state parks, and it's really close to Kansas City where I live. I'll cover 6 trails and some of the great features of Weston Bend.
Okay, so today I'm doing a shakeout hike, and I have a new backpack, a new tent. So I'm checking them out, make sure everything works well before I start the new backpacking season. And this trail is one that brings back lots of really good memories. It's really close to my house, about 20 minutes away. So I have 2 great memories from this trail. One, whenever I first started backpacking with my kids, we'd use this as a trail to practice on. My kids and my niece would come out here and do 12 miles of hiking, but this trail is only 3 miles. And so we would basically intersects with another trail, so we do a figure 8. It's 2 loop trails that intersect. We do a figure 8 on that until we got 12 miles. So that's one great memory. Is it's the very beginning of my backpacking journey. And then the second, when my son was 6, we took him out to another state park called Watkins Mill and to ride bikes. And I took him and his bike out to the edge of the trail, and then I went and got my daughter from the car and her bike. And while I went back to get my daughter, my son got on his bike and went down a slight incline and crashed into a tree and went over his handlebars. And so he wouldn't get on his bike again for the next 6 years. So then fast forward 6 years, he's 12 years old now, and he still doesn't know how to ride a bike because he wouldn't get back on his bike. So this trail has some pretty steep hills, but they're short, so I thought it'd be good to get him at the top of one of those, let him ride down to get his balance figured out before he had to start pedaling. I think that's typically how you teach a kid to bike, but these hills are pretty steep. He would, 12 years old, didn't know how to ride a bike, and he would run down the hill and then not turn and go straight into the bushes. So it took a few trips up here to get him to the point that he actually learned how to ride a bike. But after that, then we actually rode our bikes on the Katy Trail, which is 230 miles in one trip. So he did eventually learn how to ride his bike. Anyway, so this trail, like I said, brings back some great memories. It's an example of one of the steep hills. Not very long, but really steep. So it's just one overnight, testing out a new tent, a new backpack, a new cook set, and I have from last year, a new sleeping bag and sleeping pad, but I've used those already. And this is where the trail intersects the other trail, the Harps Valley on this side and the Westridge on the other side, because they connect in the middle. But we'll do the Harps Valley from the trailhead later. So, oh, and the colorful bench, this one's yellow, but they have different colors all throughout the trail. And here you can get a good view of how steep the hills are. That's probably the longest one, and it's not too long, but it's steep. Here's the second colored bench, it's red. And then again in the distance, you can see through the trees there's another steep hill coming. And here's another view of the same hill, just a little closer. And you can tell it's certainly got a steep angle, but it isn't very long. Kind of funny, because when we brought my son out here to learn how to ride his bike, these signs weren't here. Made it to the top. And I've hiked at Weston Bend all 4 seasons. Summer, winter, fall, and spring, and every one of them has its own unique beauty. Since it's an old hardwood forest, The fall is probably my favorite time, but spring is also beautiful because there's water running. And anyway, I just love this trail. Even though it's paved, it's still just a beautiful trail to be on. And here's where the trail intersects with Westridge. So Westridge and Harps Valley, the other intersection that I showed you, connect, and then that's Westridge, and I'm going to do that one as well, but I'm going to start from the trailhead. And next bench is white, and we're about 1.25 miles in right now, so a little less than halfway. Okay, about 1 3/4 miles in, and there's the orange bench. And it's got a beautiful view in the back if you can see the fields, and then behind that another large hill, tree covered. And Weston, where this trail is known for wineries, and it has, I don't know, 3 or 4 wineries and a brewery, and a nice little downtown area with some great restaurants and little shops. And here's the last bench, I believe it's blue. And they strategically place these most of the time at the top of hills, I guess, for people to rest. So anyway, I think this is the last long straightaway back to the parking lot. And if I remember right, this is where a bunch of blackberries are in the summertime. And these red cedars kind of took over the landscape recently over the hardwood forest right near the end. And the last turn, no, one more turn. And we're at the end. And back at the beginning in the parking lot. I'll show you the map real quick of the park.
All of the trails at Weston Bend are beautiful, and I wanted to hit as many as possible. And I want to give you an overview of the park and the layout so that as you're watching the rest of the video, you kind of understand where the trails are and what I'm doing. So the first thing I did was park at the trailhead for the paved bicycle trail, and I took the paved bicycle trail counterclockwise. I then headed down to the overlook and saw beautiful views of the Missouri River. I took the Westridge Trail, 1.3 miles, and then followed the paved bicycle trail and part of the Harps Trail to get back to the trailhead. I then completed the Harps Trail. Then I went all the way to the end of the park to do the Northridge Trail. And once that was complete, I thought my day was done, but I decided to add on the Bear Creek Trail, and I'm glad I did because it's very beautiful. And that was the end of day one, and I went and camped at the campground with the intent of getting up the next morning and doing the Weston Bluffs Trail. But when I got up in the morning, it was 40 degrees, but the wind was blowing about 20 miles an hour. I wasn't really prepared to run in that weather, and then so I came back 2 weeks later to do the Weston Bluffs Trail. And I did the south side of the Weston Bluffs Trail twice. Each way is 2 miles, so that was 8 miles. And then I took the north end into Weston, which is 1 mile. When I got into Weston, I spent time looking in the little shops and ate pizza. There's some great clips at the end of this video of downtown Weston, so be sure to watch to the end to see those. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Enjoy the rest of the video. Weston Bend has several amenities, and I thought I'd share them with you between trail videos. The first one is an old tobacco barn. Inside the barn are kiosks showing the history of tobacco farming in the area. It's pretty interesting. And this picture gives a great perspective of how big this barn really is.
Okay, heading up to the scenic overlook. I'm afraid it's gonna be crowded, but maybe not. Okay, it's not crowded today at the overlook. It's this nice little deck, and the overlook is of the Missouri River. It's not perfectly viewable through all the trees, but the big pastures and the hills in the distance are. Okay, now we're going to go hike the Harps Valley Trail and the Westridge Trail. Okay, so this is the Westridge Trail, and this is the one that I did the figure 8 with, along with the bicycle trail and the Harps Trail for my training for backpacking. And it's a beautiful trail. It also has scenic overlooks of the Missouri River. And this is right now shared between Harps and Westridge Trail. And eventually the Westridge Trail will veer off to the right and the Harps will go to the left. And you can tell it's a very used trail because it's down to the dirt, about 5 feet, 6 feet wide. And Weston Bluffs Trail connector, and I'm doing that one tomorrow. Okay, we're coming on the intersection of the Harps and Westridge Trail. Harps Trail, we're going to do that one later. For now, we're going to go straight to stay on the Westridge Trail. Okay, and we're going to turn away from the river and down into the forest. So it's kind of windy right now. I'm not sure if that's coming through. I have a wind guard on, but hopefully it's working.
If you're enjoying this video, please take a moment and hit the like button. And I have some great videos coming up. If you subscribe, then you'll see those videos in your YouTube feed. Thanks, hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
So the Westridge Trail follows the ridge along the Missouri River. It's very beautiful from up here. And we're turning away from the river again, back down into the forest to intersect with the bicycle trail that And here's where the Westridge Trail intersects back with the bicycle trail and the white bench again. So we're going to head back to the overlook and then do the Harps Trail. Okay, I'm at the trailhead for the Harps Trail, and they have this nifty little trail maps box, but also has a trail map on the top of the lid. So the third trail for today, the Harps Trail. And this actually overlaps with the West Ridge Trail for a little bit, and we'll do that at the very end. And it starts with a steep decline down these steps. So we're almost near the bottom. And I think it fairly quickly intersects with the bicycle trail, and then it heads back up the bluff, or back up to the bluff, back up to the ridge, and then intersects with the West Ridge Trail. And I probably won't film going backwards what you've already seen. Man, it's a beautiful day. It's funny because it was very cold not too long ago. I think it's in the mid-60s today, and it's supposed to snow by the end of the week. So I chose these 2 days to go on a backpacking trip just because it's going to be nice out, and even the overnight tonight's going to be in the low is just 57, so it's going to be perfect. Okay, and here's where it intersects back with the bicycle trail. You can see it off to the left in the yellow bench. And I'm just going to hang a right and finish up the Harps Trail. And again, it's kind of cool on this little markers that they have the map. So we are right here. We did this trail earlier. We just did this. So we're going to hike back up here and back out. Oh, it's so beautiful. The sun's shining right through that cloud, giving it a cool haze.
Do I go right or left? You did left, probably.
Okay, and that's the top of the ridge we got to get to. And then we meet up with the West Ridge Trail. And going up these staircases made out of railroad ties, at least that's what we call them, ties. And we're back to the intersection of West Ridge, so I'm going to take it that way, back to the parking lot. Okay, and finishing the Harps Trail, here's the exit out to the parking lot. This is a pretty good day. I'm going to do one more of the North Ridge Trail.
A couple more features to show. One is a giant shelter. It has tons of picnic tables and 2 very large grills. Perfect for a family reunion or a large gathering. And then here's a couple shots of the playground.
Okay, and this is at the very far end of the road coming in, and I'm going to do the North Ridge Trail, and then tomorrow the Weston Bluffs Trail, which just starts down there at the end of the road. It's like 0.9 miles each way, so 1.8 miles. Some old broken down farm equipment, I guess. That looks funny. Rusting away. Starting to get rock covered. It's been mostly dirt up until now. And a slight incline right there, but mostly flat other than that. It's a pretty trail. I bet it's beautiful in the spring. Okay, I think we're at the top of the ridge. If we're not, we're pretty close to it. It's very pretty up here, even though there's no foliage and no mountains to look at. It's just peaceful and beautiful. I'm enjoying it a lot. This is kind of strange. It's basically into where they ripped out all the trees, I guess, for that gas pipeline. And I'm assuming this is a trail following the tire tracks. Okay, I think this is the very final ascent to the very top of the ridge. Okay, that was the end. Weren't any spectacular views, unfortunately. I thought there might be, but still, good trail. I enjoyed it, and it's such a beautiful day. I'm glad I get to be outside in it. Like I said earlier, it doesn't have the scenery or the foliage, but it still was a really nice hike on a beautiful day, so glad I came. Okay, as I'm winding down the final day of hiking, this is the fourth trail I've done, the North Ridge. It's pretty fun. I think it's about 2 miles round trip, and not too difficult. This has a little bit of a climb up to the top of the ridge. Doesn't have much of an overlook, but it was an enjoyable trail. It's beautiful out today, mid-60s, and going to be a nice night tonight too for camping. And then it's going to snow by the end of the week, so I got this one in right on time. Okay, this is the final descent back into the parking lot. Make sure your seat belts are buckled and your tray tables in the upright position. Okay, and I'm back to the trailhead and finished up the last trail for today. And I'm going to walk over just quickly to show you the creek that runs through here and where I'm going to start running tomorrow. So that was the North Ridge Trail. And then just beyond this gate is the Weston Bluffs Trail. And that's what I'm running. I'm going to go left all the way to Tracy and then turn around and run that way to Weston. Anyway, if you just keep walking across the Weston Bluffs Trail, there's another gate and then railroad tracks. And then just on the other side of the railroad tracks, there's a couple of really small trails. I'm not going to do them. One's Bear Creek and one's Missouri River Trail. But just to let you know, they're there. They're like a third of a mile and a 2/10 of a mile. So, and basically it just goes along by a little creek. Maybe I will do it.
Wow, the Missouri River is just beautiful from here. You get right down next to the bank.
I'm sure I want to climb down there. Looks like the Missouri's flowing into that instead of the other way around. Maybe it's the case. Maybe it's the wind.
After a great day of hiking and visiting Weston, I was ready to pack it in for the night. I ate dinner and then camped at the beautiful Weston Bend Campground. The next morning I got up to a very frigid morning, 41 degrees and 20 miles per hour winds. The forecast was 57 as a low, so I'm not sure if I read that wrong, but at any rate, I wasn't prepared to run in this weather. So I made a big breakfast, ate it, and then made plans to come back another day to finish the Weston Bluffs Trail.
Okay, so I'm going to do the Weston Bend Trail today. I'm trail running actually, so might not stop so much and show you things, but I'm gonna go 2 miles. Well, the trail goes 2 miles to the south. I'm gonna do that twice, so that'll be a total of 8 miles. And I'll take the 1 mile trail the opposite direction to Weston, grab something to eat, and then head back. So camping was fun. A lot of coyotes yipping all night though. It woke me up a few times. Anyway, hope you enjoy. Kind of interesting here, the Weston Bluffs Trail follows the railroad, and you can see the tracks over there. This is the southern trailhead, so I'm gonna turn around and head back the other way. There it goes. Okay, I'm back to where I started running. So I did the southbound out and back twice, which is just about 8 miles. And then I'm gonna take the northbound trail into Weston. It's 1 mile. All right, I've hit the northern end of the trailhead, going into Weston, and I'll certainly take some images of Weston when I get in there. I'm gonna jog this a little bit further, and then when we get to the downtown area, I'll video again. Mean dogs. The other thing about this trail that I really kind of have good memories about is my PR 5K was done on this trail, and the Weston Bluffs 5K 2 years ago. So I'm gonna beat it this year though, right? Anyway, just about to hit the northern end. Like I said, this trail literally goes right into town. You can tell that here. There's little stores and parking lots and things all around, and houses. So this is the last maybe quarter of a mile, 1/10 of a mile of the trail. Some shots of downtown historic Weston. They have all kinds of little shops, antiques, and lots of restaurants. That looks awesome.
Okay, one more trek through historic downtown Weston and back to the trail.
Well, just about done. That was a great fun trip into Weston. The pizza was really good, and the run was really enjoyable. It's a beautiful day today. Sun is shining, but it's actually sprinkling right now, even though the sun's shining down so bright. It's kind of funny. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the Weston Bend State Park.